So if you're not new to real estate investing, then you're probably feeling the shift in the market now as some properties are sitting a little bit longer, marketing efforts aren't turning over the same yields. So you might be concerned, what do we do? Are we in a down market? Well, what we're about to do is discuss exactly how you can avoid losing your shirt during a down market. So for those of you who know about 2008, there were a ton of people in real estate, and when that bubble burst, a lot of people lost all of their assets, or at least a good majority of it. Now, there was some who didn't lose, and matter of fact, there was some that actually thrived. They became that generational wealth during that time frame. And primarily, there was really only one key difference or distinction between those who made something really good out of it and then all of those who got wiped out, and that was just simply strategy. So I'm about to share with you how one of my clients who was generating over $6 million a year was able to actually navigate through a downturn and increase profitability. And I'm also going to show you how another one of my clients who was generating over $30 million a year changed up his entire business model and was able to walk out more profitable. None of this is magic. It's very simple. And we're going to start off with the number one rule to making sure that you can manage your business through a down cycle, which is cash flow is king. Now, I think that this term is probably overutilized, it's overstated, but at the same time, it's underrated. When we think about cash flow, what we're thinking of is consistency. We have reoccurring and consistent expenses and bills, so we need reoccurring and consistent cash flow. Now, one of the downsides that I see with most real estate investors is, regardless if they're flipping, they're wholesaling, whatever the case is, they get large lumps of capital that are variable, right? They don't come in consistent. They may come in every other month, every 3 months, 6 months, or whatever the case is. And then once that stops, then they really hit a wall because the expenses still come, but the money has stopped. So we have to focus on how do we increase cash flow during a down cycle. And how do we do that? Well, there's a couple of different things. One, if we're more of the active investor, let's say our flips and our wholesales, we have to ask ourselves, how can we shrink these timelines? So maybe instead of taking on more flips, we actually transition over to wholesaling or novations, whatever the case may be. Well, what if we have rentals? Okay, well, maybe what we do is we actually take some of this cash that we saved up and pay off 1 or 2 mortgages. Now we've increased our cash flow across the portfolio. Maybe we do a portfolio refinance to a lower interest rate, which obviously right now doesn't really exist. But you get the idea. That's the level of conversation that we have to have. How do we increase our cash flow during this downturn? Now, in a perfect world, before this ever came down and before we were thinking about cash flow, we would have prepared for this downturn and we would have had a little bit of cash reserves, right? 6 to 12 months is a really sweet spot, but I always recommend an absolute minimum of 3 months of cash reserves. And cash reserves means all of your expenses over the course of 1 month, to include your utilities, your software, and your mortgages, insurance, so forth and so on. All of that is considered 1 month of expenses. And typically I recommend a minimum of 3 months. Now, 6 to 12 months, you're golden. Now, a lot of us may have not gotten to that position before the downturn came. And so now we're like, hey, we have to survive. So, okay, yeah, we focused on the cash flow at first. And now, arguably, the most important step is finding value add opportunities. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about that stuff that you can find in every single Google article or BiggerPockets interview. We'll go and find a really low priced property, get it for undervalue, and then you can sell and you have all this equity. Yeah, okay, got it. But what we're going to talk about is how do you repurpose your resources? We're going to just put that right here, repurpose your resources, because that's the name of the game. So when we think about cash flow, all right, yeah, we're playing that game, but also what resources do we have that we can utilize to give more value and then monetize it? So really, guys, this is the trade secret. This is how I'm able to help out a lot of my clients get from their struggling phases to their profitable and prosperous stages. So for example, one of my clients was doing quite a few flips a year, but they were losing money. They were generating over $6 million a year in revenue, but the money just kept going out. Now, why? Well, it was a cash flow issue. Okay, so we addressed that and we looked at cash flow. But then we took an inventory of what resources did this individual have. Well, we realized that the marketing efforts were starting to dry up, so more money was going out, less deals were coming in, and then their ability to borrow money was getting more expensive. So their profits were negated over the years, and they just weren't keeping up with that. So we said, hey, what else do you have? Well, this individual had an education company. They did coaching for other real estate investors. Okay, great. So now this is an opportunity to kind of ramp that back up to increase cash flow, because it's a lot of money coming in, but very little expenses when you do education. In addition to that, he now opened up to his students, hey, if you bring us a deal, we'll JV with you. We'll partner with you on this deal, and we'll help you do the flip, and then we'll split the profits. So now we increased revenue through the education program. We decreased marketing expenses because now we had the students bring us deals. And so by switching the business model, he went from losing money to becoming very profitable. Although he downsized in the number of transactions he did, he changed the strategy to focus on cash flow and just reallocated or repurposed his resources. So there's a lot of benefit in being able to do this process, right? Focus on cash flow and repurpose your resources. Now, the last one here, the third thing that you can do is always think long-term. This is strategic. Now, I know we're going to make some pretty quick decisions so we can avoid the downturn, but whatever we do today, we have to think about what's the second and third order effects in the future. So this is where another one of my clients came into play. So they were doing 30 million or so in annual revenue, a lot of activity, primarily all flips. Now, a lot of things were going on. But as the market got tighter, marketing got harder, deal flow started coming in less and less, and they started losing money rapidly. So what did we do? We focused on cash flow. We trimmed up where we could, and then we repurposed the resource. Here's a hint, guys. If you're in flipping, right? If you're a flipper, you are in real estate development. You're in a construction business, point blank, period. So we repurposed his team, and we started doing other renovation projects for other clients. Boom, brand new revenue source. Now we cut out the need for any borrowed capital because he's not buying properties. We cut out the need for any long-term projects, right? Because it's not taking us 120 days to do a flip. It's taking us 2 weeks or 30 days to just do a project for another client. So we increased cash flow. We repurposed his resources, and then completely changed his business model. And he was already producing over $500,000 in the first 6 months because he had the systems. We just repurposed it. Now that he's made that shift, remember, we're thinking long-term. So what happened to the flipping business? Well, guess what? When the opportunity arises, he still has the team in place. Now he can be very selective with what flips he does or what projects he does on his own while he's monetizing the open market for other people who consistently want these renovation jobs, making it much more sustainable during down markets. We got to remember that down markets aren't the end. They're just a test. And the companies that can evolve and adapt over time are the ones that last the longest. IBM is a great example. IBM was known as a computer company at one point in time, and now it's a very large consulting firm. They were able to adapt over time. And for those entrepreneurs who can adapt, those are the ones who are going to make it not only through the down market, but continue to be profitable and thrive. Now, if you found this video helpful, or if you want other tips on how to maximize the efficiency of your business, then you got to hit the like and you got to hit the subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.